Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 10. Today we are going to be looking at a simple Lumostone counter. So right behind me, this is the counter with all of the new blocks that we talked about last time. This counter has become very simple. So as we saw in Alpha 9, a counter is a counter in binary. So if I step on this pressure plate, you'll see that I get 1 down here. So basically binary is essentially like base 10, which everybody is used to counting in, but the numbers are a little bit different. So rather than having the lowest bit represent 0 to 9, this represents 0 or 1. So when it's on, it means 1. When it's off, it means 0. And then as you go up, so that's the 2 to the 0th column, and then we have 2 to the 1 column, 2 to the 2, and then 2 to the 3. So what that means is the next column is either 0 or 2, the column after that is either 0 or 4, and the column after that is either 0 or 8. And you can kind of keep going, and there are lots and lots of stuff on the internet about binary, so I'm not going to continue on with binary talk right here. If you're interested, there are Wikipedia links and all sorts of things that you can do to find out more about binary. But the key thing here is that this counts. So as we stand on this pressure plate, we've just gone from 1 to 2 because that is 2 on its own, and if we stand on this again, 3 is of course 1 plus 2, so that's 3. Then we stand on this again, we go up to 4, and then 5 is of course 4 plus 1, and 6 is of course 4 plus 2. And so as you can see, the more I step on this thing, the higher up it counts until it hits the highest number it can count to, or the highest single number it can count to. This is count to in a single light. So that's 8, but then we can go to 9, and then to 10, and then to 11, and then to 12, and then to 13, and then to 14. Oops, I didn't stand off the plate. There we go. That's 14, and that's 15. So that's the highest number you can count to on this particular counter. But as you're about to see, this counter is very simple. So it means that you can count really high on this thing because all you need is 1 light, 1 NOT gate, and 1 toggle per thing you want to count. So as you can see, I've done a 4-bit binary counter here, but you could do a 5-bit or a 6-bit or a 7-bit or an 8-bit. It doesn't matter. It's really simple to do. And of course, the only other thing you're going to need are 2 NOT gates and a pressure plate. So let's come over here and start building one of these things. I've got some stuff in my hand. I've got enough actually to build a 6-long counter, but I don't think we're going to do that all on camera here. So to start with, we need our NOT gates, our toggles, and our lamps. So I'm going to set the lamps out first. So we're just going to run a row of lamps along here. Whoops, that lamp did not go where I wanted it to go. That's okay, we'll set those lamps out along here. Actually, yeah, we'll do all 6, why not? So there we go, we've got a row of lamps, and then 2 back from the row of lamps, we want to throw down a row of toggles, just like this. Simple and easy as that. And then between the lamps and the toggles, we want to put some NOT gates. So that's these guys here. I'm just going to make sure that they're facing the right way. Here we go. So now we have 6 latches, 6 toggles, 6 NOT gates, and 6 lamps. So hooking this stuff up really couldn't be easier. Starting from the right, you basically take a line of toggles and feed them into one another. So the one that is on the right from wherever you're going to be looking at this thing from. So I'm going to be looking at it from this way. So we want to go from the right down to the left and just connect each toggle to the toggle to its left in turn, just like this, all the way down the line. Bam. And once we've got all of the 6 toggles hooked up, just like that. Of course, this guy we don't hook to anything because there is nothing else here, but of course we could add another toggle, another NOT gate, and another lamp and go up to a 7-bit counter or an 8-bit counter, or just keep going. Doesn't really matter. This is very simple to do. So then the next thing we want to do is we want to grab the line from here and run that into the NOT gate, and then run the NOT gate into the lamp. And we're going to do that for all toggles and NOT gates that we have sitting around. So just going to go down the line, doing all of this up. So basically the way this works and why we're having NOT gates is toggles change their state when they get a pulse, which means when a toggle turns on, it toggles the toggle further down the line, which is basically backwards from how the counter works. If you remember, when we're doing the counter over in Alpha 9, the toggle or the counter worked by when a toggle turned off, it would trigger the next thing down the line. But the easy way to get around that is to invert the signal using NOT gates, and then basically, so while these toggles are essentially counting down back here, the NOT gates are forcing them to count up, or at least to make it look like they're counting up on the lights. So obviously, because we have NOT gates before the lights and the lights are our output here, if you want to output this to anything other than lights, you take that output from the NOT gate rather than from the toggle. It's pretty simple and straightforward. The toggles are just kind of the thing in the background that makes everything work, and the NOT gate is actually your output into the rest of your system. So here we go. We've now got all of our toggles and NOT gates done up. So the final things to do are, one is to put down these two NOT gates that I showed you earlier. Now basically what happens here is, as you can see, when the island loads up, because we've got all NOT gates at the back there, this whole system starts at the number, well, I mean, for that one it's 15, and it's just all of the lights turned on all at once. Now we don't want that all the time. We want this system starting from 0 when the island loads. So basically what we need to do is we need to give it a little kick when the island loads, and that's what this will do. So basically, as the island loads, both of these NOT gates will be on for just a fraction of a second before this NOT gate realizes this NOT gate's on and turns off, as it is now. But that fraction of a second is long enough to send a signal to this toggle, and that means that this whole system will get one pulse and it will turn off all the lights. And we can kind of emulate that by placing down a pressure plate and showing you that, but that's okay. We don't really need to do that for right now. The final thing you need to do is, of course, place down a pressure plate. This pressure plate then just gets linked up to the rightmost toggle at the back up here, and then that's it. That is now done. All you need to do is step on this pressure plate. As you can see, we go back to 0, and then we count from 1. Beautiful. So this system has some disadvantages to the system we made in Alpha 9, but it is, of course, very, very simple and easy to build. The main disadvantage here is that there's, at least at this point in time, not a very easy way of resetting it back to 0. I'm going to continue working on trying to find a good and easy and simple way to reset this thing back to 0, but at this point in time, I can't quite find it, so we're just going to run with this guy, and the easiest way at this point in time to reset it back to 0 is just to continue clicking the button until such time as you roll back around to the 0 point. But there you go, that is the counter here in SkySaga. It is compressed and compacted immensely by the new Lumostone here in Alpha 10. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one, and I will see you in the next video.